So we look at the permitted credit, and now we are looking at the permitted debit. And permitted credit, remember if you happen to write 2 or 3 permitted credits, always remember invert remittances, 1 credit, and then any fund transfers within the same account holder, PFC to PFC of the same account holder. That means X maintaining account bank or Ceylon, you could transfer it to HNB or commercial bank of the same account. That is possible. Then whatever the funds lying in the account, the interest will be credited. So those are, simply remember, credits permitted under the each foreign currency accounts. Especially you remember all these 3 are applicable to any foreign currency. So easy to remember. Right. Coming back to permitted debitor. So you can do any outward remittances in respect of current transaction. You know what do you mean by current transaction? Any transaction related to goods or services considered as current transaction. Right. Then in respect of capital transaction of the account holder. So earlier, capital transaction didn't have any limit. With this foreign exchange curtailment, central bank has reduced recently up to 20,000 you can remit. Up to only 20,000. Only 20,000. Not every year. Just until further notice, only 20,000. US dollar, it's equivalent. Then if the account holder, remember, if the account holder is a person resident outside Sri Lanka, he could do any fund transfer. There's no restriction, right? So you need to be aware, these PFCA curtailment comes if the account holder is a resident. So that is why I explained what is resident, what is non-resident. So every account, you need to understand what is resident, then what is non-resident, right? So resident, you are aware. Okay, then these are the permitted debits under PFCA. Transfer to PFC of the same account holder or immediate family member. Immediate family member means you could transfer your children's account, your spouse account, or your parents account. So that is okay. Or within your own account, you can transfer, right? Then transfer to BFCA account. I told you we are going to learn BFCA, that is business foreign currency account. We are going to learn that. If you have the same account, you could transfer from your PFCA to BFCA, right? That is also possible. And withdrawal of currency notes up to 5,000 or equivalent. That is for the account holder as well as for the immediate family member. Right? If I give you example, let's say the account holder is a father. He's taking his wife and 2 children for a foreign trip. So they are eligible to take each one 5,000, but that is the maximum. So it depending on the nature of the trip, the countries they visit, and the duration they stay. Depending on that, bank can use the discretion to give how much each person. So each person is entitled only 5,000. That is again, it was 10,000. Central bank has reduced it to 5,000 due to this difficult time prevalent. Then disbursement in Sri Lanka rupee. So any foreign currency account, disbursement in Sri Lanka means you are converting your foreign currency deposit into LKR. That is disbursement in foreign currency. The disbursement in Sri Lanka rupee is applicable to any foreign currency. So that say you have a PFC account, you have $10,000, you need some rupees. So you ask the bank, can I convert this from my $10,000, $2,000 into LKR? So that 2,000 can be converted into LKR, but that cannot be reconverted. That is, you have got to understand. No reconversion. Rupee cannot be converted under any circumstances and credited to the foreign currency account. That is the fundamental rule. You can't convert rupees into foreign currency credit to a foreign currency account is not permitted. So you need to understand. Okay. Then we move on to the right. Now I have given certain spaces for you to write notes. Under PSC account, there are certain type of loans are permitted. So we are going to, I will explain. There are two types of loan which you could grant to the PSC holder. One is people who are employed abroad. So you can just make a small note of say Sri Lankan working or employed abroad. Sri Lankan employed abroad or working abroad can obtain loan through PSC account. This loan could be any purpose in Sri Lanka. Any purpose in Sri Lanka. So how the bank proceed the loan is, they will create a PFC loan account. So that called PLA. PFC loan account. Just make a note. PFC loan account. Abbreviation PLA. PFC loan account will be created in the name of the borrower and the funds will be credited. So the PLA account is in LKR, because when they give the loan, they are going to give you the loan in LKR. Though the foreign currency loan disbursements are done in LKR. So you got to remember, if the PFC account holder taking a loan, he gets a benefit because of the loan granted in foreign currency will be charged as per the foreign currency loan interest. Say loan interest of dollar 6%. So the loan will be charged at the rate of 6%, not the rupee interest rate. So you got to understand, right? So that is the reason. But remember that loan, let's say you are taking $10,000, right, to acquire some asset. Now the $10,000 will not be given as $10,000. It is the equivalent of whatever the prevailing exchange rate will be converted and credited to your personal foreign currency loan account, which is PLA. Then, so you can say PFC loan accounts are granted to Sri Lankan employed abroad, any purposes. PFC loan PLA account will be account and the loan proceed will be credited. That is one type of loan under PSC category. There is other segment.
So can you repeat the notes again, please?
Which notes? So I said PSC loan could be granted to Sri Lanka employer abroad, right? The loan is granted for any purpose in Sri Lanka. For any purpose in Sri Lanka. Then you can say bank will open PFCA loan account. Abbreviation is PLA. PFC loan account within bracket PLA will be open in the name of the borrower to credit the loan proceeds. So you can make another note and say these loan proceeds will be dispersed in LKR. But remember, there is a exception to this. Say, Sri Lankan working in Middle East want to buy an apartment. So that apartment company, resident company, who has a BFCA account. So they are selling property in foreign currency to foreigners. But that price is very attractive. So the Sri Lankan guy who also looking at the price, he also wanted a foreign currency account from under the PSA category, and he approaches the bank and he says, I want $50,000 that need not be converted into LKR, that should be credited to the property developer's BFCA account. That is permitted because the account holder is in overseas. Under that category, there is an exception. If the PFC account holder, when he wants a loan proceeds, that proceeds could be either credited to his LKR account of the PFC loan account, or it could be transferred in dollar form to the BFCA account of the property developer. So that is the exception. Other than that, all the loans are granted in foreign currency, but the disbursement will be take place in LKR. Will be take place in only in LKR. Understood?
Sir, which means if they withdrawing the money from the account, they will get in LKR, right?
Yes.
Okay.
PLA is a LKR account. So all the loan money will go to into LKR. They can pull out the money in LKR because the purpose is to spend within Sri Lanka. No? So you need not to have foreign currency. You can spend in LKR. Exception is if you're buying a property from a property developer who has a foreign currency account by the name of business foreign currency account, then as a exchange of the property price, the loan money can be used in foreign currency. That is only exception, right? Then I was talking
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is there any legal aspect that do we need to obtain a confirmation from the customer mentioning that there's no objection regarding the disbursement will happen in LKR?
No, not really required. You have to take a undertaking to only to establish that he has a capability to generate foreign currency cash flow to repay the loan. That is only undertaking. You need not to take a no objection letter under the new direction because the PLA is a Rupee account. So you can credit to this Rupee account. He is well aware that money could be used for the local purposes. So he should be well aware at the time of granting the loan.
Okay, sir. Let's say that the client's only relationship is NRFC account and he is working abroad.
Yeah.
So do we have to open another SLR Rupee in order to disperse the loan?
No. Let me explain. He has not NRFC now. That you should not tell NRFC. What is the account you should tell? PFCA. PFCA, right? PFCA, he has an account. When the bank grant a loan, there is a separate account to be opened. PFCA loan account. You can't credit to the PFCA account. Understood?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So it has to be separate account to be opened. In the PFCA category, there is other loan to be granted. That is people who are living abroad as a permanent resident, or they are taken a dual citizen. That means, you know what is dual citizen? Anybody? What is dual citizen? This word is frequently used. Dual citizen. That is the reason the last class I explained why resident is very important, because of this category of people. They come and say I'm a resident. In reality, they are having a dual. So you need to be careful. So let me explain what is the old. Say you are Sri Lankan. You migrate to Australia under PR, permanent resident. So when you go under PR, you are permanent resident in Australia. But remember, you are still Sri Lankan. Still Sri Lanka, right? When you go after living in Australia, you feel there are some added benefits if you have become a citizen of Australia. Then what you do, you try to apply the citizenship in Australia. Once you get the citizenship after meeting certain criteria, you will be given Australian passport. The moment you get the Australian passport, you are no more Sri Lankan, because your Sri Lankan citizenship is gone. That's gone because by obtaining a other country citizenship. So you are renouncing your right to remain as a Sri Lankan. Now you opted to be Australian. So you will be an Australian. Right. Now, with the Australian passport, when you come to Sri Lanka, you can only come as a tourist. You are not a resident. But if you are not taken the citizenship, if you are coming with a Sri Lankan passport, still you are a Sri Lankan. Though you got a PR to remain in Australia as a permanent resident, anytime you can come back to Sri Lanka and live permanently in Sri Lanka. But by taking citizenship, then you are not a Sri Lankan anymore. But what happens, these people after taking citizenship in Australia, they prefer to come back to Sri Lanka and stay long. But they have been given only temporary visit, maybe tourist visa, maybe 1 month maximum, or they can extend it. But if somebody wanted to stay here, then they have to apply for a dual citizenship. So they have to go to Department of Immigration and Immigration and apply for a dual citizenship. Once they get the dual citizenship, they have permanent residency in Sri Lanka as well as in Australia. But remember, they have to fulfill the criteria. They should stay 183 days to become resident. If not, they are foreigner. Is that clear? Is that clear with regard to dual? So if somebody comes to your bank and say, I am a dual, first thing you should ask, take the passport and see what is the passport is holding. If you holding Australian passport, right, and you look at the declaration when he has arrived, so you know he has arrived with Australian passport and he looks like a non-resident because he's carrying Australian, though the name is Sri Lankan name, right? He's Australian. Then if he has to prove that he's a resident here, he has to give the Sri Lankan passport where you obtain the dual citizenship. Then you got to see the number of days. When did he arrive with an Australian passport? Then how long from that date he has been remaining in Sri Lanka? Then you treat him as either resident or non-resident, depending on the number of days he stayed here. So this is where the definition of central bank giving residency with 183 days aggregate for a last 12 months is very important, right? So the second type of loan under PFCA is granted people who are Sri Lankan living in abroad under PR, or they have taken dual citizenship. Those people can take a loan only for purpose of acquiring immovable property. So you can say second type of loan, PFCA account holders, who are permanent resident, in other country with Sri Lankan origin, permanent resident in other country with Sri Lankan origin, or dual citizens or dual citizen, either they can be a PR or they could be dual citizen or they could be non-resident. That means they taken a citizen there, but they're Sri Lankan origin. So they are not PR, they are not a dual, they are Sri Lankan origin, taken citizenship in other country. So these people are permitted to take what account? There's a loan account, they can take loan account. That means they can take a loan to acquire a property. So you can say, put it this way, Sri Lankan origin, living in other country as PR, living in other country as PR, or having dual citizenship. Could apply foreign currency loan, to acquire residential property in Sri Lanka, or to construct, develop, renovate a resident property in Sri Lanka. So either they can acquire a property outright, or they can construct, develop, renovate a residential property in Sri Lanka. So the loan could be given for this purpose only. For here again, they will be separate. So you can say, first you are say Sri Lankan origin, living in PR in other country, or having dual citizenship, to take a loan under the PSA category. The loan will be granted for the purpose to acquire residential property in Sri Lanka, or to construct, develop, renovate a residential property in Sri Lanka. Then you can say bank could open a separate foreign currency loan account, within bracket you can say FCLA, foreign currency loan account, or LKR loan account, foreign currency loan account or LKR loan account. Within bracket you can say LKR loan account, LLA. LKR stands for L, loan, L, account, LLA. Right? So bank will disperse the loan through these two accounts, right? Okay. So that's sufficient for you to get to know what are the type of loans granted for PFC account holder. Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, tell me.
When we are paying installments, what will be the effective currency? Is it LKR?
No. It's like this. Let me explain. Now, the loan is granted in foreign currency, right? When the loan is granted in foreign currency, they open a foreign currency loan account. Let's say under $1,000, the bank is going to grant. Now, the loan is in foreign currency. The foreigner, anyway, has to repay the loan by sending remittances. That is, to Sri Lanka, it's a inward remittance, right? He has to send the money. Say if it is a foreign currency loan account, every month he has to pay capital loan repayment 2,500, interest 500, $3,000 he has to every time he has to pay. Suppose say he has taken 10 million rupee loan, right? 10 million rupee loan for which he has to pay every month 6 lakhs. Up to 6, whatever the amount to convert, when you are converting to 6 lakhs, he has to send the dollar to that amount. Understood? Is that clear? Is that clear?
So could you please repeat once again, please?
Now, when you are granting a loan to a Sri Lankan living abroad, you will be either granting loan in foreign currency. So let's say the dollar is for US dollar under 1,000, right? So the property is acquired by the borrower, which is the account holder. The bank has granted loan of under 1,000. The property value must be more than that. The bank won't grant the 100% of the property value as a loan. Bank never grant. So he would have put his own money. Bank would have granted under 1,000. Let's say the property value is $150,000. He bought an apartment. Now, what is the loan agreement? Let's say there is a 10 years. Out of 10 years, he has to pay the under 1,000 into 12 months. 10 years means 120 installment. So the under 1,000 divided by 122, 120. Then you know what is the loan amount. Plus 6 or 7% interest for the dollar loan. So he has to pay loan repayment plus interest put together. Let's say it comes, let's assume it comes about $6,000. So every month he has to pay $6,000. That is to service the loan. Understood?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Then, okay. If it is a rupee loan, rupee equivalent, he has to send the money. Rupee equivalent, he has to send the money. Right. Okay, we are moving on to the business foreign. This is business foreign currency account could be opened only by any person who earned foreign exchange. Remember the word. I have bolded it. Who earned foreign exchange. So he has to earn. It's not somebody giving dollar. He has to earn. That means he has to supply goods or services to a overseas person for non-resident. So by earning foreign exchange, the following category of people are eligible to maintain BSC account. BSC stand for Business Foreign Currency Account. So you have studied personal foreign currency account. Now we are moving on to business foreign currency. So here, as I told you, an individual can open. PSC also an individual can open. But PSC cannot be opened by any business entity. It is only personal category. So then a sole proprietor or a partnership, right? If they are earning by exporting goods or services, they are eligible. Then the company incorporated in Sri Lanka, they are also eligible. Then company incorporated outside Sri Lanka, which is registered as an overseas company under the Company Act. Let's say Lanka IOC. Their IOC is an Indian oil company. But they come into Sri Lanka, they started a business and registered Lanka IOC. That is their local name. So it is actually the company, origin of the company is in India. That is the company incorporated in India. But they have a branch office or overseas company registered under Sri Lankan Company Act. So those people are said overseas company. Those companies are considered as overseas company. Even they can maintain, right? It's not only the Sri Lankan company. Even a foreign company incorporated in overseas, they will register their name under the Sri Lankan Company Act as an overseas company. And those people also can. All these banks are Standard Chartered, Citibank, all are registered under overseas company. because they are having a presence here, right? Then any government institution with the relevant ministry's approval, they can open. And the shipping company, agent for shipping company, and the general sale, that's all a airline. You can call it as GSA. GSA stands for General Sales Agent, GSA, or shipping agent. These people are also permitted because they are earning foreign exchange. Then the liquidator, you know what is receiver liquidator. No worry about that. That is in the event of a death of a or the failure of the company, right? Then a non-government organization shall not be permitted. So there are certain entity, they registered here as an NGO, non-government organization. They can't open because they are not permitted people to maintain BSE. So though they are registered here, they might have the capacity to bring down foreign exchange, but they don't earn. So therefore, central bank have not considered NGOs to open business foreign currency. So other than that, individual, sole proprietor, partnership, companies, government institution, all are permitted, provided they earn foreign exchange. They have to prove. They have to prove the bank they earn foreign exchange, right? So those people are permitted to BSEA account. Now BSEA, now I'll give you an example. Let's say any exporter in Sri Lanka, easily they can open BSEA because they are exporting goods. Give me some example, any service provider in Sri Lanka who could open BSEA. Give some example. Who are the service provider? Give some example. Life example. If I'm a lawyer, right? If I'm a consultant in finance, if I want to consult a company in Maldives, or I am a tax consultant for a company in Bangladesh. So I am giving services. For my service, they can pay me in foreign currency. So I am earning foreign exchange. So remember, it is not only for the exporters. There are anybody who could supply services as a profession and earning foreign exchange can open BSEA. Is that clear? Okay. Now, my question is, I am asking simple question, right? Say a Tambili, you know Tambili king coconut, a person who sells a Tambili king coconut. Let's say not in current context, but let's say country back to normal. There are foreigners coming in. So take example, there's a guy selling Tambili in front of Hilton Hotel or in Fort area, closer to the 5-star hotel. There's a foreigner walking. When the foreigner was walking in, he wanted to have a Tambili. So he buys a Tambili. Let's say the foreigner giving a foreign currency to the Tambili person. Can the Tambili person open a BSE account? Tell me the answer, yes or no. Can the Tambili seller, by selling Tambili to a foreigner, can he earn foreign exchange? Can he open a BSE? Answer is yes or no.
No.
Say yes. Somebody says yes. Somebody says no. Yes. You should.
Yes, he can, but he has to prove that he's getting continuous foreign currency earnings.
Yes. Answers are there. Yeah, answer is yes. He can. Because what is the criteria? Anybody supplying goods or services to foreigner earn foreign exchange. So here the problem, we don't have any entity who could go through individuals selling commodity to foreigner and issue a certificate. Of course, if you are exporter, you can go to Export Development Board, which is called EDB, and get a registration done. So if you're an exporter, you can register yourself. Even if you're an indirect exporter, still you can get a EDB registration done. If you are a gem exporter, you can go to National Gem Authority. National Gem Authority, get a certificate. Then you are a certified exporter of gem. But there are other commodities. So you don't have, say, there is a sole proprietor running a restaurant. There are foreigners coming in. So he can charge from foreigners in foreign currency. And he comes to the bank and say, I want to open a BSC account. He could open a BSC account, but what is the document you can ask for? So the simple document is, if it is a Tamil person, you have to get a letter from him saying, is so and so, is NIC number in such and such, is living in this address, and his business is selling Tamil. When he sells the Tamil to foreigners, he recover or he acquire foreign exchange. Therefore, he is willing to open a business foreign. That is the letter you should take. So if it is a company, take a letter. A company means there is a board resolution. There is a board. There is a board of directors are there. Get the approval. The company want to open a BSC account. If it is sole proprietor, take the letter from sole proprietor. Get the authorized signatory, sign the letter saying they are into this business and earning foreign exchange. That is a documentary evidence you can earn, right? You have to establish the fact that the company earning foreign exchange by supplying goods or services. These are the permitted credit. Remittances receiving foreign exchange from abroad through the banking system, export of goods or services. You know what is entrepot trade? Entrepot trade means, you know, you are buying goods from one country, selling to the other country, earning foreign exchange. If you are doing overseas project, you earn foreign exchange. All this is inward remittance coming to your BFC account. Foreign exchange accepted by the account holder in respect of goods supplied by such person to a person resident outside. So you can accept foreign exchange from account holder. Sometimes what happens, this is more relevant to gem merchant. What happens, they take the gems and selling it in overseas auction or trade fairs, and they bring the foreign exchange. But when they are taking the gems, they have to go and declare at the customs in the airport. There's a counter. They have to go and declare. And when they're bringing in foreign exchange, they have to go there and declare it and bringing it. Then only bank can putting into the BSC account. So that is declare and bringing it, because these are large sums involved, right? Then transfer from PSCA, BFCA or offshore account of the same account holder. Say if you are a let's say A as a PSC account, A also having a BSC account. It's possible because he's as a profession, he earns foreign exchange. As an individual, he can open a PFC. So whenever he wants money, he could transfer his PSC to BSCA or vice versa. BSC to PSC. Both are possible, right? Transfer from an account maintained OBU person resident outside in respect of a current transaction. That means if a business currency person can supply some goods to overseas guy, that guy has a OBU, overseas banking unit account. From there, the money can come into the BFC account of the person who sells the goods, right? Then foreign exchange brought into Sri Lanka by the account holder. Declaration. I think we learned this on the PFC also. Anything more than 15,000 bringing currency notes, you have to declare the customs. Less than 15,000, declare to the authorized dealer. That is to the bank. So remember, if somebody bring in $20,000, he should declare it, because the requirement is anything above $15,000 need to be declared at the custom on arrival. So there is a separate counter. You have to go there, prove that you have brought this foreign exchange with you. So they give a small declaration. That small receipts you have to bring with you. Go to the bank. When you want to deposit, you show them. That is more than enough. But that is required anything 15 above. If you are bringing less than 15, there is no declaration. It is your own declaration. You have to give it to the bank. That is what you call less than 15,000 appropriate declaration to AD where foreign exchange is less than 15,000. So if you are bringing less than 15,000, AD mean authorized dealer. That's a bank. You have to give the declaration to the bank. That is the account holder has to give. Let's say I'm coming from Middle East. I have $10,000. I need not to declare the custom because it is 15 above. I'm bringing only 10,000. Even if I go there, they might say not required. Only 15 above you have to declare. So I will take my 10,000, go to the bank. When I want to deposit to my PSC account or BSC account, the bank wants a declaration. So then I will give a small letter declaring that when I arrive here, it was brought with me.
So is there any tax applicable for the foreign exchange?
No,
If you
no,
are
it's
changing-
for the PSC account, no tax. BSC account, there is a tax. Because you are doing business, you need to pay certain taxes, not for the personal capacity. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Right. So anything less than 15,000, it is a own declaration. So remember, when you are giving declaration, anybody can give a small receipt of declaration. That is not valid. You have to show the passport where you arrived. That is very important. So we say, I am coming to the bank and say, I came last week. I bought 10,000 with me. So I am giving a letter. So that is a declaration. To support that, I have to give the passport where the arrival, rubber stamp in the passport. 10 days ago I arrived. Then only that declaration made valid. Otherwise it's not valid. Just letter anybody can give. So you have to be careful, right? Declaration mean it has to be supported by the passport where you are actually arrived, right? Okay. Then unutilized balance remaining in the foreign travel. I think I told you foreign travel card is some sort of a instrument. You can reload it into the card and use it in foreign exchange when you are traveling. But these are not very popular because all the debit card are Visa or MasterCard. So those Visa, MasterCard, debit card can be used internationally. So there is no necessary for you to take additional travel card because most of you, other than the debit card, you have a credit card. Even that is international branded credit card. Even that could be used. So it is less use. But even if you take it, remember, whatever you take, bringing back anything unutilized, you can put it back to your PSC account or BSC account, right? Then whatever interest in the account, that also credit. So remember, any foreign currency, easily 3 credits you can remember. 3 debits you can remember. What are the 3 credits? Any inward remittances coming through the banking channel, 1 credit. Transfer to your own account, 1 credit. Interest component to the deposit of whatever the funds lying in the account, 3 credits. More than that, if you want to study, you can take when you are bringing in foreign currency notes above 15,000 with a declaration could be deposited. That's 1 credit, or less than 15,000 with a declaration to the bank. Those are permitted credit. Right. Let us look at the permitted debit. Any outward remittances made outside Sri Lanka in respect of current transaction. Remember, when you are making current transaction, there is no limit. There is no limit. Current means you can import $100,000 or you can import $1 million. As far as you have the documentary evidence to support your imports, there is no limit. So If you have a BSc account, you are a garment exporter, you are exporting garment, you want to import fabric for $2 million, you could do so. Because that import of fabric are used to manufacture ready-made garment, and in turn, you will be exporting. That export proceeds will come back to your BSc account. Therefore, for current transaction, there is no limit, right? As far as you need to prove it's a current. So either opening a LLC, perform an invoice, then you have the shipping document. These are supportive documents. So to prove it's a current transaction. But you can do capital. Capital means you can make investment outside Sri Lanka. But with the current situation, central bank said only 20,000 can be made as capital transaction until further notice. So you can't make, if you have already made 20,000, there is no 20,000 per annum. It is one shot until further notice, because they want to stop all the money going out of the country at this moment, right? That is the reason I put it in red. Then you can say transfer to a PFCA, BFCA. Yeah, that is on the other side. If you are permitting credit, it should be there in the debit side also, right? Transfer to account maintained of person resident outside Sri Lanka. Yeah, you can do transfer to a current transaction, a person in overseas. And you can withdraw currency note for travel purposes up to $5,000. But here, you don't get immediate family member. That is only for personal. Business, only your name. Only you can take. So you need to be understand. Right? Then there is exception. Withdrawal of foreign currency note up to 50,000. They are giving 50,000, a large sum of dollar can be taken in currency form for a specific purpose. What is that purpose? That is, if you are a gem exporter, sometime you need to go overseas to buy raw gem or rough gem, unpolished or uncut gems. These gems are sold at an unofficial auction. There you need to pay hard currency, dollars. So when the auction takes place, you pay dollars and buy these rough gems. So you need to carry $50,000 or its equivalent. But remember, you need to get a approval from National Gem Authority. That is, if you are a gem. This is not to everybody. You need to be a registered gem exporter, and you need to prove that I am going to take $50,000 for the purpose of purchasing rough gems. Maybe you cut it and polish, then you either sell it in locally or you take it overseas and take part in trade and sell it. There are some trade fairs or some event could take place. There you can sell it and come. Maybe that is again auction or whatever. Then you have to bring the foreign exchange back to the country. Then we will study external commercial borrowing account that I will explain to you. That is Sri Lankan can borrow. That is Sri Lankan. When I say Sri Lankan, it's a only company. They can borrow from foreigner as an individual lender or a group of lenders. The local company can borrow, and that company has to open a special type of account called external commercial borrowing account. So here, if you borrow something from your PFC account, your BFC account, you can transfer to your external commercial borrowing account to repay the loan. Right? Then disbursement in Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka rupee. What does it mean? If you have funds in the BFC account, you want your LKR current account to be funded, and what you do, you take your BFC account out of $5,000, convert into LKR, and you fund your current account. But those money cannot be reconverted. So remember that always, whatever converted into LKR cannot be be converted. That is the fundamental of foreign exchange regulation. Understood? Okay. Now, in the BFC also, there is a one type of loan bank can give. So that is where I am giving a notes to you. Just take down and say banks grant loans. Bank grants loans to BFCA holders. Bank grants loans to BFC holders for any purpose in Sri Lanka. For any purpose in Sri Lanka. And the loan will be credited to inverted comma, you can say BFCA loan account. Like PFCA loan account earlier, here BFCA loan account. You can say within bracket BLA. BFCA loan account within bracket BLA. So bank will grant the loan to BFCA loan account within bracket BLA in foreign currency. In foreign currency. Here the BA is a business person. He wants in foreign currency. No point giving him LKR. So here the loan is dispersed in foreign currency. That's a difference. Under PFCA, loans are granted in LKR. Under PLA account. But under BLA, business foreign currency loan account, loan proceeds will be credited in foreign currency. So the loan proceeds will be credited in foreign currency to BLA of the borrower. That means BSC loan account. BLA means BSC loan account of the borrower. So within any purpose, within Sri Lanka, he can utilize this money. Because what happens, when you take a foreign currency loan, the interest is lesser. So government wanted these kind of exporters to be competitive in the world market. So when the loans are granted in foreign currency, what will happen? Whenever, let's assume, there is a garment exporter. He wants to import fabric. If he has a BFC account and if he take a loan from the BFCA, if the loan proceeds are credited to the BLA account, that means BFCA loan account in foreign currency, the same money without converting into LKR, same money can be used to pay the imports. So no exchange rate involved here because the loans are granted in foreign currency and the same money used for the imports. Then what happens is cost of production at a very lower rate. So he will be very competitive in the world market to capture more business. As a result, there will be more inflow coming into the country. That is the reason central bank granted these features, that means granting, disbursing loan proceeds in foreign currency to the BFC holder because they are the exporters, right? All right, so we have finished BFC. Then we are moving on to IIA. So remember there are two accounts, inward investment account, outward investment account. So I don't think you will be getting very technical question in this area, maybe part 1 question, but still you need to know what is IIA, what is OIA. Sometimes they might ask what type of loans are granted to the PFC account or what type of loans are granted BFCA. So you should know. That is the reason I am giving these notes and the contents of these directions, right? Inward investment account. I have given the first paragraph highlighted, very important. IIA is a special type of bank account which facilitates foreign direct investment into the country. And the eligible investor could open IIA either in foreign currency or in LKR through an authorized dealer in the domestic banking unit. So, who are the eligible person to open IIA? All remember, this is meant for foreigners to invest into Sri Lanka, not to any locals. No point local getting involved. Here, this is permitted foreigners to invest into Sri Lanka. So everybody has to be foreigners, foreign individual, right? So you can see who are the eligible: a non-national resident in or outside Sri Lanka. What do you mean by in or outside? Can anybody give me example? A non-national resident in or outside. What do you mean by that?
Working in Sri Lanka.
Yes, correct. A non-national resident in, say, a Indian doctor, while he's in India, he could invest because he's a non-resident, non-national resident outside Sri Lanka. When he working Lanka hospital with a resident, he's a non-national but now resident. So you should know it can be a Indian staying in India and same Indian while working in Sri Lanka again is permitted. So that is what you call a non-national, a foreigner, maybe in living in Sri Lanka on resident visa or outside Sri Lanka. So that is the example, right? Then a Sri Lankan national who has obtained PR or citizenship any country resident in or outside Sri Lanka. So that means any dual citizen in Sri Lanka or any Sri Lankan working permanently residing in other country can permit. They are also permitted. So it is not only for foreigners. Sri Lankan permanently living outside, they also can support the country because this is inflows. These are direct investment. This is the only way we get foreign inflow into the country. This is the only way. So you have to support. We have to support this kind of a scheme to bring more foreign exchange into the country. Then a Sri Lankan dual citizen resident in or outside Sri Lanka. A dual guy has taken both. He can either here or over there, his own country, he can. Then a Sri Lankan citizen employed abroad, resident outside Sri Lanka. Even those people, when they have excess money, they can invest through IIA. A company incorporated outside Sri Lanka, that means foreign company. There's no local connection, totally a foreign company. A partnership, again registered outside Sri Lanka. Maybe country fund, regional fund, mutual. I think if you take USA, they have a lot of mutual fund. These are small fund accumulated and they make investment into shares and debentures and earn. These are funds, mutual funds. So these mutual funds also can be invested in Sri Lanka. So these are foreign mutual fund, country fund, regional fund, maybe unit trust, all established outside Sri Lanka. So these all are eligible, right? What are the investment opportunities? Look at the investment. See the type of investment. They can invest in shares, both listed and unlisted. What do you mean by listed and unlisted? Can anybody? What is the difference between listed and unlisted? Listed is public quoted company. Unlisted is private company. You can't sell shares, collect capital for a private company. The public can invest in public quoted company. So you have two type of company: public quoted company, private company. Private company within bracket any name you can see PVT, PVT Limited. Those people cannot sell their shares to general public to collect their capital. Only public quoted company. All the banks in Sri Lanka are public quoted. All their shares are listed in the Colombo Stock Exchange. That is what you call listed. Listed means those companies are listed in the Colombo Stock Exchange. All are public quoted companies. Other companies are unlisted, which are private companies. So foreign investor can buy shares of public quoted or private company, right? Then they can also invest treasury bond, treasury bill, Sri Lankan development bond, unit trust, debenture, then deposit with the bank. They can make a deposit FD. They can setting up office here. They can buy immobile property. Yes, they can buy. Most of the apartments are bought by them by way of they open IIA account, bring them money, and they can grant loans to Sri Lankan company. So you can see this is the best way. If you know anybody who have enough money in overseas, tap them to bring the money here, because there are a lot of opportunities currently available. Those funds could be utilized. Of course, the present situation, we need to wait until these problematic times are over. Maybe once it is over, you can promote this. Even there are people in foreign, especially if you take Europe country, there are certain countries you have negative interest. What do you mean by negative interest country? Can anybody? What do you mean by negative interest? Any example? Didn't I tell you this? Negative interest mean interest are minus. So you can't keep the money in the bank account, earn interest. It is minus. So if you are keeping the money with the bank, you need to pay to the bank as a safekeeping. So if you keep less than $100,000, they might not charge you. But when you keep more money, they will charge you. So in other words, they are not promoting people to deposit money. You have to pay. So why do you want, after keeping the money, to pay that? You want those extra money to be earned in an investment and more return. So this is the ideal product. The IIA giving all kind of investment, treasury bill, treasury bond, immobile property. So if you buy property in Sri Lanka, an apartment, let's say you buy for Sri Lankan money 40 million, within the matter of 2 years, you can easily sell it for 50 million or more than that. Definitely, assets always, the prices will increase. The best investment is always in immobile property. But over a period of time, it might double. It might definitely double, because these assets are limited. These immobile assets are limited because we don't grow. No, whatever geographical area we have limited resources. But the population increasing. So what happened when the population one side increasing, when the lands are not getting expanded, then definitely that is the only asset over a period of time gradually increasing in value. That is the reason even bank, when you are giving as a security, they prefer immobile property as a security. The reason always is catching faster price. With the pace of time, the prices will definitely go up. So that is again a good investment opportunity. So remember, these are the investment opportunity. Just for your notes, just say, so if you're working in a bank, right? If you're working in a bank, say your manager or your boss got an email, is asking for you to reply. There is a foreigner approaching, dropping an email to your boss and saying, can you explain what are the investment opportunities in Sri Lanka? How do I proceed? So you need to tell your boss, this is the opportunity, this is the requirement, this is how it should be done. So what? So remember, if anybody asking, if I want to invest into Sri Lanka, what is the account they should open? Now tell me, what is the account they should open?
Inward investment account.
Inward investment account. Can the inward investment account open in LKR? Can they open in LKR? Yes, they can. Or in foreign currency. LKR or foreign currency. Both are permitted. So you can say foreign investors, including individual business entities could make investment into Sri Lanka, by opening inward investment account. Within bracket, capital IIA. Would open inward investment account and bring the money through this account. And this account could be maintained either in LKR. This account could be maintained either in LKR or designated foreign currencies. Either in LKR or designated foreign currencies. The investors could invest in the following investment opportunity. So remember, sometime in the exam, you will be asked to write short notes on IIA or PSCA or BSCA. So remember to write all this. Eligibility, what type of account, what are the permitted credit, what are the permitted debit. That is especially for DSCA, PSCA. But IIA, you have to explain the investment opportunity. So you can say invest in listed shares and unlisted shares. Unlisted shares. Investment in treasury bills, treasury bonds, unit trust. Investment in treasury bills, treasury bonds, unit trust, and debentures. Investment in treasury bill, treasury bond, unit trust, and debentures. Then also you can say invest to acquire immovable property. To invest in to acquire an immovable property. To open a term deposit with the bank. Then you can say to grant loans to companies incorporated in Sri Lanka. To grant loans to companies incorporated in Sri Lanka. So these are set of perfect answer for a short note. So if you get a IIA, this is the answer, right? Then we are looking at opposite, outward investment account. Then who should be eligible then? Is it anybody within Sri Lanka or outside? Who is eligible outward? Anybody within Sri Lanka. Because we are going to make investment. Outward investment means, so you can read the first para. This account enable resident investor to invest in shares of companies incorporated outside Sri Lanka, sovereign bonds issued by foreign government. OIA will be maintained in foreign currency. There's no LKR because you're going to invest. No point opening LKR. So OIA account always in foreign currency. Right? Who are the people? Companies registered in Company Act. It could be private, it could be public. Then commercial banks and specialized bank. Then employee provident fund, partnership, individual resident. All these people are, including sole proprietor, all are eligible to open and invest. But I have put it in red. What it says? What does it say? Currently making new investment are temporarily suspended until further notice. Though you study OIA, currently you can't make any new investment until further notice. That is because the current foreign exchange deficiency, right? So this is the table explained to you. It gives column 1 the resident eligible investors. Then what are the limits? What are the type of investment you can make? So you can say company listed. That means all public quoted company. What is their limit? $2 million per annum. See the last per calendar year. A company not listed, within bracket you can say private company. On the top you can say public quoted company, public company, public quoted company or public company. This is private company. They have a limit of 500,000 per calendar year. Per calendar year. Then regulated of license entity excluding the 1 and 2. Other than the public quoted or private, these entities registered under the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Security Exchange Commission, and insurance regulator. These people are permitted. That means all the insurance companies, specialized bank, all those people are permitted up to 500,000 per calendar year, right? Then employee provident fund, EPF, right? They are also permitted up to 500,000 per calendar year. But remember, these, what do they can invest? See the last column. They can invest in ordinary shares, units, preference shares, corporate bond, debenture, sovereign bond. What do you mean by sovereign bonds? What do you mean by sovereign bonds? Bonds issued by respective foreign countries. That means our treasury bill, treasury bond are sovereign bond issued by Sri Lanka government through central bank. Same way, USA government bond issued through Federal Reserve dollar bonds are considered as sovereign bond. So that is the bonds issued by the respective government through their central bank. That is sovereign. That is the utmost top entity in the country. That is what you call sovereign. So the Sri Lankan investors are permitted in shares, preference shares, debentures, corporate bond, sovereign bond. Right. So let's say, I think we look at the individual also. You can see a partnership registered in Sri Lanka. They are being permitted 300,000. An individual is permitted 200,000. But remember, these two, partnership and individual, are not for every year. See the look at, for lifetime. Underline the word for lifetime. Partnership and individual are having a limits, further limiting for a lifetime investment. All above categories are per calendar year. Every year they can. But here, once you invest this amount, that's it. Per lifetime, not per year. So you have learned the limits. Public quoted company, how much? 2 million per calendar year. Here you can see 2 million per calendar year. Private company, 500,000 per. Then the other banks and insurance company, again 500,000. Then EPF, again 500,000 per calendar year. Then partnership, lifetime, US dollar 300,000. Individual, 200,000 for lifetime. Again same. Ordinary shares, unit, preference share, corporate, all share. Then a company or a partnership can start up a overseas office, for which 300,000 per calendar year. Say, if you are a company, you want to set up a office in Bangladesh as an overseas office. So you can invest up to 300,000 per calendar year to maintain this office, right? Or licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized bank, they can have a branch office up to 500,000 per calendar year. So now you can see Bank of Ceylon as a branch in Mali, branch in Seychelles, branch in UK. So they can maintain 500,000 if they want to maintain the overseas office, right? Yeah, these two, don't worry about this. These are ESOP, that is employees share option scheme. So you need not to worry about that. Just make a note. You can say OIA, outward investment account, OIA, and say Sri Lankan individuals, Sri Lankan individual and business entity, including government organization, are permitted to make investment overseas, through inverted comma outward investment account, bracket OIA. Sri Lankan individual and businesses, including government organizations, are permitted to make investment through outward investment account, OIA. This account would be opened through an authorized dealer. This account could be opened through an authorized dealer in foreign currency. You can make a note and say currently there is a restriction imposed currently there's a restriction imposed to make any new investment. To make any new investment. In general, in general, each investors are permitted to make investment in shares, debentures, unit trust, shares, debentures, unit trust, corporate bonds, shares, debentures, unit trust, corporate bond, and sovereign bond, corporate bonds and sovereign bonds with limitation according to the eligibility. Right. We covered PLCA, BFCA, IIA, OIA. So out of
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Sir, is there any different limits applicable
uh,
to different persons when coming to Sri Lanka? That means when carrying foreign currency in Sri Lanka.
come again. I didn't get your question.
Is there any different limits applicable
Mhm.
when carrying foreign currency to Sri Lanka? That means one limit for foreign currency earners, that means working abroad, and other.
No. Let me explain. If anybody bringing foreign currency into Sri Lanka, irrespective of whether he's a foreigner or Sri Lankan working abroad or Sri Lankan having PR, they need to declare if the amount of foreign exchange brought into the country exceeding US dollar 15,000 and above. Less than 15,000, they have to declare and bring it. To precise your question, if somebody, right, bringing $10,000, there is no declaration because the custom declaration only comes into effect the amount is above 15,000. But when it comes to 10,000, there is no requirement. But if that person or the Sri Lankan working in Middle East bringing 10,000, he wants to part of the amount to be taken back, then he has to declare at the custom irrespective of the amount. So only exception to your question, if a person bringing in something into the country with the intention to take some amount of same money he brought, then he has to declare and bring. Understood?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So what is the reason why I said when somebody bringing 10,000, you want to take it back, part of it? Why he has to declare? Though there is no requirement, but I told you declare at the custom. Reason is if that person going back, let's say he's carrying $8,000. If the customs people, officers, catching him and ask him, how did you have $8,000? Because he has not taken anything from the commercial bank here. Then If he declared that when he brought $10,000, because he know for sure he's going to take maximum notes back. So it's better he declare and bringing it. So if the custom officer, when they check him, when he departure, he will say, this was brought with me, I declare. Yeah, then no question. There is no problem. Otherwise, they will ask him, you would have bought it at black market. Because he can't prove. If he has declared it at any time, when he wants to take it back, the declaration going to support it. Even if he goes to the counter, if the custom officer might say, why it's not 15,000, why do you want this 10,000 to be? He has to say, no, I'm going to take it back. Then they will declare. So you have to be careful. Okay. Right. Moving on to the CTRA. What is this capital transaction rupee account? This is only meant for when people migrating, PR, moving for indefinite stay. So when anybody leaving the country, this is the account that should be open. So remember, this account is more relevant for immigrant. A Sri Lankan person going outside, going to outside, or after going there, they want to take whatever assets they have here through this account. So CTRA is meant for that. What is CTR stand for? Capital Transaction Rupee account. So you should know, when it comes to capital, it is always migration. It is always immigrant. So you can see eligibility, an immigrant, resident in or outside Sri Lanka. So you are going to decide to go to Australia, but you are now here. Still you can open because you want to take, or you may go to Australia and open the account because it's outside Sri Lanka, can open. A non-national resident in or outside Sri Lanka, including minor of such person, a non-national resident in or outside Sri Lanka, even they are also eligible to open. An individual Sri Lankan resident in or outside Sri Lanka who has obtained temporary resident visa in another country. So sometime when you go to countries like Australia, after you study, you work for certain. So when you work for some time, then you are eligible to apply for TR, that you call temporary resident. After TR only you can apply for a PR. Or else you go straight away under skill migration with PR. So there is an option. You might go and study in Australia, then you get a work visa for 2 years, then you apply for TR. Then after TR, you can apply for PR. So it's up to you. Depending type of course you follow. If you follow a degree program, after completion of degree from Australia University, you might straight away get a PR. Then it's up to you to show your criteria, eligibility, then apply for a PR. So all those people are permitted to open, because when you are migrating, whatever assets is within Sri Lanka, you want to take it. For that purpose, only this account is open to take your whatever assets belongs to you, or maybe gifted by your parents or grandparents. You want to take it. In order to take that, you have to open this account, CTRA, right? So you can say a CTRA may be opened and maintained in the form of savings, current in Sri Lanka rupee, because you don't keep this money for a term deposit, because you want to take the money. It's a temporary account. Eligible person shall open only one CTRA in the banking system and shall be held as a sole account. Both CTRA and immigrant remittance income account shall be open. So something new thing happened in March this year. Central Bank, when they revised this foreign exchange regulation, they brought a new account. What is the name of the new account? This is the account, ERIA. What is ERIA stand for? Immigrants Remittable income account. Remember, sometime you might get a question. What is ERI stand for? Immigrants Remittable Income Account. This is in addition to CTRA. They introduce a new account. Remember, if you have already opened a CTRA, you have to open the ERI also with the same bank. You can't open CTRA one bank, ERI one bank. No way. Both has to be opened with the same bank. I will tell you what is ERI stand for. That is not ERI for what purpose. The migration element should be remitted out through capital transaction, Rupee account. So all your migration relevant to be routed through CTRA, right? Then let us see what are the migration allowances. I'm just telling you, these are the migrant allowances. Right? Anybody over 18 years, they are eligible to claim migrant allowances. There are different two type of allowance. Look at the second, initial migration allowance. Look at the third point, annual migration allowance. So you should know migration allowances are two types, initial, annual, right? So there are two types, initial, annual. Initial is one time, only one time you can. Annual, every year you can take. So, okay. So what happened? In 2017, when the central bank brought this Exchange Control Act, moving into the Foreign Exchange Act, it was 150,000. From 150,000, with the new regulation, Foreign Exchange Act came, they increased to 200,000. Up to November 2017, it was 150,000 under Exchange Control Act. When the Exchange Control Act was removed and replaced by Foreign Exchange Act, the amount was increased to US dollars 200,000 per individual. 200,000 per individual. Right. That is as a initial migration. Then annual migration allowance, which was up to 2017, it was $20,000. It was increased to $30,000. Right, $30,000. Then a Sri Lankan individual resides in outside Sri Lanka and has obtained temporary resident visa in another country may claim maximum of 30,000. So if you have got a TR, you can claim maximum 1,000. So these are general allowances you can take. But with the current foreign exchange restriction, this is the migration allowance currently you can take. There's no way you could take the 150,000 or 200,000, nothing. You can only take 30,000 migration allowance. Only 30,000. Currently, if you are migrating, only you can take 30,000. As a first time, you can see the word first time. That is initial migration. Not 200,000. For the moment, they temporarily reduce it to 30,000. Once the situation back to normal, you might in a position to take this initial migration allowance 200,000, provided central bank grant this, removing this restriction, bring back this amount. Until such time, if you are going now, only 30,000 first time. So remember, so though you should not advise anybody, if somebody asks me how much I can take it now, when I'm first time I'm going, no, you can take only 30,000. Though he's eligible, he or she, 200,000, but currently restricted to 30,000. Limit repatriation fund immigrant who already claim migration, already claim, then they can take until further notice only $10,000. If they have taken anything already during this difficult period, they can only take 10,000. Though they have a limit of taking 150,000 or 200,000, only they are taken part. They want to take the balance, but currently only 10,000. That is, people who already utilize the migration allowance. Only 10. First time anybody going now, first one, 30,000 will apply. So you should know. Limit of the outward remittance issuance of foreign exchange for any Sri Lankan individual or resident Sri Lanka and obtain temporary. So if you are going with a temporary, $20,000, only $20,000 can be taken. Limit of outward remittance. Limit of issuance of foreign exchange for person resident Sri Lanka who intend to leave Sri Lanka under temporary to another country for the first time, then they can take only $10,000. Only $10,000. So you should know these are the limits, the reduced limit central bank bought it. So I don't think they will ask you the limit, very unlikely. They might ask you the what type of account is used to take the migration allowance. That is CTR, capital transaction rupee code. The actual initial migration allowance is 200,000. Annual migration allowance. That means this is every year. Apart from these two allowances, your current income can be remitted. Current income, your pension, your rent, your interest income, all that can be remittable as a current income, right? Right. Now, why central bank introduced this account? It's a simple explanation. In certain country, they said when Sri Lankans are getting money, say a Sri Lankan person gone to Australia before this difficult time. So he has been getting money from his CTR account, right? And again, $100,000 he got it. Again, other 10,000 coming from his CTR. So that bank wants to know what is this 100,000 you are getting? What is this every year you are getting 10,000? So they have put a restriction. When you are bringing your current income, you have to bring through a separate account. Whatever your assets, you have to bring through the separate account. These requirements are not Sri Lanka. It is the immigrants' country. That is what they open account called immigrants remittable income account. That means immigrants as income, in order to remit his income, he has to use this account. That is only where the country is required. Say in Canada, if one person has gone there and he is remitting everything through CTRA. CTRA can be used to remit everything. Your initial migration allowance or your annual migration allowance, your current income, all can be remitted through CTRA. But Canada do not have any restriction. But let's say Australia put a restriction. Whatever money coming to Australia, Australian government should know this particular individual getting this money from his current income or sale of his assets. So they need to divide. So based on their requirement, the customer might come and tell the bank, I want to open two accounts, not CTRA. I want to open a ERIA, immigrant remittable income account. So why this account? This account to remit only his income. All his capital nature can be remitted through CTRA. So you should know this is only coming to force if there is a requirement in the immigrants country. So you can see this account was newly introduced for the purpose of repatriation of his or a current income derived in Sri Lanka by immigrant only if there is a regulated requirement in the country where the immigrant is residing permanently to identify the current income globally derived by such immigrant. Okay, so they want to know if a one person and come and take an PR in Australia, if he getting income, they want to identify these are his income. So these income, they might charge a tax. They want to segregate his income separately and his capital transaction separately. That is the reason area is open. It doesn't mean everybody has to open area. No, area need not be opened by anybody unless there is a requirement by the immigrant country regulation, right? Who can open? Only immigrant. Only immigrant. Area may be opened and maintained in the form of savings, current, Sri Lanka rupee as a sole account. Eligible person shall open only one area in the banking system. Both capital transaction rupee account area shall be opened and maintained with the same bank, same AD. AD is permitted to open and maintain area in the name of immigrant who has already opened the capital transaction rupee account with the registration number issued by the Department of Foreign Exchange. Okay. So remember, when I give you small notes, I will tell you to open ERI or CTRA, the customer has to obtain a registration number from Department of Foreign Exchange. They have to get a registration number, one unique number. If you are already open a CTRA with a central bank registration number, then same number you can open ERI area, the same bank, with the same bank. You can't change the bank. It has to be the same bank. So area and CTRA has to be opened with the same bank. Whether to open CTRA or area, the customer has to register with central bank, one account. Then they will assign a registration number. That registration number can be used for both accounts, but it has to be maintained with the same bank, right? Now, earlier what happened, let's say one person has 5 bank accounts. Let's say Mr. A having a Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, HNB, Commercial, NTB. He has 5 accounts. His wife has 5 accounts, right? They decided to go to Canada, migrate. So all their rupee account had been converted to, as per central bank regulation, to CTR, capital transaction rupee account. Because the moment banks comes to know these people are going to migrate, all their existing rupee account will be redesignated as CTR, right? So that is the regulation. But in this March, when they brought the restriction, they have said, apart from CTR, they introduced non-resident rupee account. You can see this account here. They brought this account. It was earlier there. Then they have brought back the account. They bought it called non-resident rupee account. In other words, if you have 5 CTR account, right? Other than one CTRA, we have taken the registration number. But remember, if you have any number of CTRA, only central bank will give registration number only for one account. Through that account only you can take the money out. All other account, you need not to take registration number. Now, central bank classified all CTR account except the one account you have taken number back to non-resident rupee account. So they have brought back the NRRA. So central bank, when they brought this restriction, there had been some issue. What was the issue? Some Sri Lankan living abroad wanted to open a normal rupee account. So even Sri Lankan working in Middle East, when they want to open rupee account, all this time banks are opening CTRA. So there had been a confusion. Who could open a CTRA? Now central bank identified that issue. Now they rectified in this March, bringing back NRR. This non-resident rupee account. Simply, you can see an immigrant resident in or outside Sri Lanka can open NRR. A firm, a company established, incorporated outside Sri Lanka. Any other person who may authorize by central bank from time to time, NRR. So this is, you might get a question, what is NRI stand for? That is non-resident rupee account. This was brought back again. NRR may be open and maintained in the form of savings, current or term deposit. NRI shall be held as a sole. NRI maintained immigrant by held as a joint with the NH immigrant. Right? Now you can see all CTRA except the account for which the registered number has been issued by central bank will be redesignated and continue to be NRRA. So you should know all this time, all the rupee account of the immigrant bank has redesignated as CTRA, out of which one account has to be registered with central bank in order to take the remittances. Remaining all CTRA account with this recent direction need to be converted back to NRR. That is what the first point says. All CTRA except the account for which the registration number has been issued by the central bank will be redesignated and continue to be NRR. Right? Further, all existing CTRA maintained by foreign firms and companies registered outside will be designated as NRR. So, hereinafter, anybody living abroad can open a NRR. Only immigrant can open CTRA. Right? LKR account maintained by immigrant shall be redesignated as NRR. LKR account opened by immigrant shall be redesignated. So, other than CTRA, if you have 10 accounts, let's say you have 10 accounts, all your 10 accounts except one account, CTRA, all 9 can be NRR. There's no point maintaining number of CTRA accounts. Because one CTRA sufficient for you to take. So, remaining account will be NRR. So, NRRA can be opened by certain foreign companies. For that, there are permitted credits and debit. So, this you need not to worry about. Just make a note for your clarity purposes and say, make a small note, say, Sri Lankan immigrant, within bracket say, when they are migrating to other country, Sri Lankan immigrants, when they are within bracket, when they are migrating to other countries, all their existing LKR bank accounts, all their existing LKR bank accounts will be redesignated as NRRA, non-resident rupee account, will be redesignated as non-resident rupee account. All account redesignated as NRRA, non-resident rupee account, except only one account. They could maintain, except only one account. They could maintain in the name of CTRA. Within bracket, capital transaction rupee account, CTRA. Capital transaction rupee account. Right? Capital transaction rupee account. Next point you can write. the immigrant has to obtain a registration number. An immigrant has to obtain a registration number to his or her CTR account in order to remit the migration allowances. The migration allowances. In order to remit the migration allowances. Apart from CTRA, there is a other type of special account. By the name of ERIA, within bracket, immigrants, apostrophe S, immigrants, remittable income account. Immigrants, remittable income account. Apart from that, there's a special account by the name of immigrant remittable income account to be opened to remit the income separately due to the regulatory requirement of the immigrants country. Due to the regulatory requirement of the immigrants country. So don't get confused. This notes is sufficient for your exam paper. Remember, these three accounts are there. Okay. Now, central bank, I think I told you there is a one way of in inward investment account. When a foreigner want to invest into Sri Lanka, I told you they can grant loans to companies in Sri Lanka. So central bank wanted all those companies who are borrowing from overseas to open a separate account called external commercial borrowing account. This is only the borrower should be companies. Individual cannot, partnership cannot, sole proprietor cannot. Only incorporated companies can borrow from overseas lender. For that, this account will be open. So if you get a question, what is ECBA? It is external commercial borrowing account. This account could be opened for the purpose of companies incorporated in Sri Lanka to borrow from overseas. So you can see ECB may open and maintain in the form of savings or term deposit in any designated foreign currency in Sri Lanka foreign currency or Sri Lanka rupee shall be held as a sole account. This account has been reintroduced to facilitate the permitted borrower to credit the loan proceed and utilize such proceed for the intended purpose. So this account is meant for the incorporated company when they are borrowing from overseas. To a central bank wanted to monitor their borrowings through this account. That is the reason they designated a separate account to be opened by the borrower. So it is the borrower who opens his account, right? So you can make a small note before you go into the last two slides. You can make a note and say ECBA, external commercial borrowing account. ECBA, external commercial borrowing account. ECBA. ECBA has been reintroduced by central bank. ECBA has been reintroduced by central bank. ECB has been reintroduced by the central bank to be opened by companies incorporated in Sri Lanka, companies incorporated in Sri Lanka, to borrow funds from foreign lenders, to borrow funds from foreign lenders using their credibility, borrowing funds from foreign lenders using their credibility, and such loan funds would be credited to ECBA. So the purpose of this account, to monitor the inflow and outflow, of the transaction routed through ECBA. Transactions routed through ECBA. Okay, right? Then the last two slides. You know, everybody, I think you can see all banks are now promoting, but it's special deposit account. I think this was introduced in, I put the date, everything here, right? The validity of the scheme started 8th April last year. It was originally given for 1 year. Then they extended other 6 months. Now they extended up to 7th April 2022. That means this investment scheme available for 2 years, commencing from 8th April 20 till 7th April 22. What is this speciality? This scheme is to make where there is a special deposit account where the investors will get normal interest plus 1% additional if they deposit the money for 6 months, and 2% additional to the normal interest if they keep the deposit for 12 months. So you can see who are the eligible: Sri Lankan individual resident in or outside Sri Lanka. Even you can ask your sisters or brothers in Europe to send the money to you, and you will be paid extra 1% or 2% if the monies are kept for 1 year. 1% the monies are kept for 6 months. That is in addition to the normal interest. So that is called special deposit account. So you can see special deposit account. Any well-wisher, Sri Lankan individual, dual citizen, citizen of other states with Sri Lankan origin, non-national, resident here or outside Sri Lanka, funds, corporate bodies, incorporated outside.
So you can see eventually anybody, because government wanted in last year after the pandemic, they wanted more foreign inflow, foreign exchange inflow should come into the country. That is the anticipation. So with that, they gave the, you can see, SP shall be open maintained only in the form of term deposit. It is not savings account. It is only term deposit. SDA shall be opened and maintained either in foreign currency or LKR. You can maintain in foreign currency or LKR. SDA may be held as a joint or by, if it is joint, it has to be eligible person. Both party has to be eligible. Minimum tenor 6 months, maximum tenor 12 months. Interest paid for 6 months deposit, interest paid for 6 month deposit, normal rate plus 1%. For 12 months, normal rate plus 2%. So you can add it up and see, you get more interest for 6 months. So if you keep 1 year, you are getting 2% compared to 1% for 6 months. So this is more beneficial for the people to bring the money into Sri Lanka. Then SVA could be used as a security, as a collateral for granting loans to depositors either in LKR or foreign currency as per the applicable regulation, right? So these all direction are as per this regulation issued by central bank in last month. So they are only extended up to 22. So remember, if you get a question, what do you understand by SDA? It is a special deposit account meant for bringing more inflow into the country. So banks have been told to pay normal interest plus 1% for the 6 month term deposit. For 1 year, normal interest plus 2%. This scheme is available till April 22nd. Until this date, any investor can make investment. Even 6th of April 2022, one person can bring 10 million and keep it for 1 year, because this corridor open till 7th. Up to 7th, anybody can bring money. But the maximum tenor of deposit is for 1 year. But you have to bring the money into the country before 7th of April 2020. So this is a good product. I would say you can introduce to, if you have anybody in your families who look for an investment opportunity, especially Europe country, you can see they can enjoy not the normal interest, in additional 2% interest. So this is the best product at the moment to invest. I think we have come to the end of this presentation. Okay, so we will have our usual class in next, when? Next Sunday, right? We don't have any additional classes. So we will cover the delivery channel. Have you got the presentation, delivery channel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we will discuss the delivery channel on the next Sunday. Okay.